Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The Chair of Council, Mr. Mike Teke, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Marwala, members of the MEC, ELG, University community, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Dimadekwana. Dimadekwana. My Chief of Communications, Mr. Siale, told me that my voice is dreadful and that I must not speak. But that was in the morning when I agreed. And I said that Professor Berger is here. Where's Professor Berger? I said Professor Berger is here, who's more than capable to do what I'm doing. And if my voice fails, she will take over. But when I went through the report and I saw the success in the report, I couldn't risk not to be associated with it. And so, as they say, success has many parents. So here I am, Mr. Siale. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the launch of our reconfigured stakeholder report. This year, this time, the Vice Chancellor launched this newly reconfigured stakeholder report, reporting on the performance of the university for 2017. It was a sterling function, Chair. The truth is that the VC last year had very little, if anything, to do with that stakeholder report, because it was reporting on the previous VC's performance. And the truth is that this year, this time, today, this report and what is in it has everything to do with Professor Marwala. It reports on the university performance for 2018. But then, ladies and gentlemen, mine was just to welcome you and wish you well for the evening, while I call upon the council chair to come and tell us how Professor Marwala and us as a university have performed thus far. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And Prof. Marwala, members of council who are here, members of alumni, convocation, those who decided not to go to dinner tonight to come and listen to us, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I was recently elected chairman of council at the University of Johannesburg. After a debate with my family, we sit at a dinner table with my 2 kids and my wife, and we have a conversation about what is it that I'm going to do this year that will make sure that will reduce the time I spend with them. So one of those responsibilities was the University of Johannesburg to say they think it's time that I must walk away from this. I've had enough of university. I must go and try something else. So I couldn't find something else. I came back to Professor. I was the chairman, I was the president of the Minerals Council, the old Chamber of Mines. I was the chairman of Richards Bay Coal Terminal. I still sit on the board and I chair several committees. And I chair listed companies, 2 of them. And my sister says to me, why do you like to chair things? And I said, I don't know. And I still have to find out. So I enjoy these roles. I'll tell you why. Because our country today, South Africa, needs to change. I don't know whether you recognize that to some extent we are a bit in trouble. And I don't think you notice that, because you wake up, you stand in a shower, hot water comes out, you probably get into that air-conditioned car, and you drive to your office, and then at 4 in the afternoon you go home. You don't know what's happening out there, the noise. So I want us to start taking these things seriously and turn this country around. But let me talk to you about the University of Johannesburg. I work in an environment where I like to see things change. I like to see perfection. When I run businesses, wherever I operate, you go to the Minerals Council, which is the old Chamber of Mines, they will tell you of the fingerprints or the imprint that I left there. Richards Bay Coal Terminal, Anchor Capital, all the companies I'm associated with, all institutions. And this institution, University of Johannesburg, it's not going to be different. So I've had a story that one of the senior people in this university complained about me and said, Mike Teke likes to interfere. And I've got news for you. I'm going nowhere, and I will interfere. I'm very unapologetic about that management style. It's a leadership trait that I never inherited from anybody. I like to interfere. So, Professor Marwala, the first thing that we talk about when we do a one-on-one with Prof. Marwala is the story of alignment. That if you watched the movie The Godfather, there is a part where they talk about all our ships must be aligned the same direction. If not, we're going to have a problem. People are going to get fired. People are going to lose their jobs. People will be out of this institution. So that person, I've got news for you, I continue to interfere in a positive way to make things better. So Professor Marwala and I spoke about two things. Firstly, to say, what is this university all about? Why do we have universities? Why? Why do you have an academic institution? And you are professors here and doctors and all that. You have the answer. I'm not going to give it to you. You'll read it in this report where we talk about that. And I'm saying, don't lose that core. Don't ever lose the core. And then I become unpopular with Professor Marwala when I say, I cannot afford to have an institution like the University of Johannesburg with more support staff and less academic people. Because this is an academic institution. In the mining industry, where I operate since 1994, we call people mahambane, meaning in the mining industry, there are people who sit at head office in Johannesburg, if you have mines all over the place. So this individual gets into his car in the morning and he drives from one mine to the other. And the mining people, the core mining people who go underground and dig mining engineers, they call this guy Mahambane because every time in Fanaga law, he always says, Mina hambala, and then they call him that. So in this university, I believe we need to come up with a model that is clearly understood that we are an academic institution. Therefore, we have to have strong, lots of professors, lots of lecturers, lots of them. And South Africa is a big problem. When you go to the township, driving a Ferrari, having left school at standard 1 or matric or something like that, or I would say you had a brief encounter with education. We celebrate you because you drive a Ferrari, yeah? But if you arrive in a township driving a Corolla, no difference. Yes, there is a difference in price. But you are a professor, we don't celebrate you because you're not cool. I want this institution, we need to work on that. That's the first thing. So Professor Marwala and I then talk about operationalizing the business school. We talk about that, the first thing. We say, how do we get this university having a business school? Because we don't have a business school. And we've set up a business school. I think it will take off. Next year, you'll have the first group of MBA people. We must make sure that it competes with the GIPS of this world. It must compete with the VETs of this world. It must compete with the University of Cape Town. It must compete with the global players. Professor Marwala talks about a medical school. And Professor Parek, you're looking at me. We're not getting a medical school. It's a bit slow for me. But we need to get that. So I'm just counting the basic things. And then we have issues about labor, insourcing of labor and all that, and stabilizing the university. And then we have the issue of the big one, which is the agenda that he drives as Professor Marwala, and we talk about the fourth industrial revolution. So let me pause and say, when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, you know when you lead people, some of you lead executive teams, Professor Tabrameya, you're a dean, you have a management team, everybody has got a team. And often when you have a team that you lead, one of the people in the team, you'd have a support of the 95% or 99%. There's going to be 1%. You'll have a renegade. Have one person who will argue with you and say, I don't agree with him. You will have that Professor Marwala in this university. You will have somebody who will say, I don't believe in this 4IR nonsense. So don't be discouraged. We are heading that direction. You've given us direction. We support you. But then let's talk about the things that then worry me. One, I want to talk about safety. Good people, students die in this university, and I don't like it. Okay? Students die in different academic institutions. I come from the mining industry. In the mining industry, we talk about zero harm. Fatalities, no. You know, in 1993, the mining industry used to have 593 fatalities, if I'm not mistaken. And we've reduced it to below 100 now. We're trying to push to zero. We want to drive zero harm. I cannot accept that on a Friday evening, Professor Marwala calls me to tell me that a student was stabbed to death. Good people, we need to do something about the safety of our students, because the parents, just like you being parents here and myself, when our kids reach the ages of 18, it's the first time that they leave our homes. We're sending them to academic institutions. We entrust their tutelage, their safety to these people here. And we need to do something as a university. Other universities must do that. For me at UJ, that's priority for me. You cannot believe that last year, 2018, I've got the statistic here, it's a simple number. 12 students died, mostly unnatural deaths. And then 2019, now, in August, the year is not yet finished, okay? We are already at 13. And if you don't take it seriously, then something wrong. I think your head must be read. Then comes the issue of financial stability, ladies and gentlemen. I became a member of council at this university, and I still believed that the issue of finances plagued us a bit. Not because we had poor financial people, but I think we had ideas about the money we see that exchanges hands in these universities, and we think this money belongs to us. We have to make sure that we become ruthless in dealing with people who are unethical. We have to make sure that we grow this institution and look after this university's money as if it was our own money. We're not good at that as yet. I talk about the issue of leadership when I started here earlier, and I said to you, we've got Professor Marwala, we've got the MEC, we've got the ELG, we've got the Senate, we've got lots of structures in these institutions. At times, I tend not to understand them. The strength of leadership in an institution like the University of Johannesburg comes as a result of people, especially members of the MEC. If you don't respect leadership, your own leadership, if you don't respect yourself, the day you become a vice chancellor, do you expect the very MEC members who are with you to respect you? They won't. So the whole issue of respect here about the leadership of this institution comes as a result of the experiences we've had in the past. We're not going to have that as long as I'm here. We will make sure that we respect ourselves as leaders, to make sure that we look after the interests of this beautiful institution. And then the future, ladies and gentlemen, for me to close and go and sit down and hand over to Prof. Marwala, who I know that is going to be busy with his slides. What does the future hold for us as a country? I started by saying I am a bit concerned about our country. We seem to be spending a lot of our energy in things that don't matter. The youth, the children. We learned in 2016 with fees must fall. We listened, the students told us what they wanted. In a continent that is going to be over 1.3 billion people. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the same size as India, we're the same size as China. If you ask me what concerns me every day, other than the children I see on the streets begging for food, begging for money, whether it's deliberate, whether it's by choice, whether it's their circumstances, I don't want to get into that. Why would we not have our own children being interested in being academics? Why don't we have our children focusing on education, just education? Because if there's one thing that's going to liberate us as this country, are we liberated? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I believe going forward, Professor Marwala spends time on his fourth industrial revolution, on those issues that we discussed. But we need to drive some ethic. I don't know how we're going to do it, but that'll be part of that journey. That we started a small thing with Professor Berger. We said, let's start by inviting high school and primary school kids to attend graduations. And it's working. Young kids must come and see a graduation, what happens at a university graduation, so that they can have that aspiration, they can dream, they can want to be there one day. We never did something like that. We invite our parents, we invite our grandparents, well and good. But those people are that side of the mountain, they've done their part in life. Let's go and get these young kids, capture them at an early age. And for me, the future of this country is in investing in these young children, in our students at university, in ensuring that when these universities come and register here, they get paid for, their fees are paid for. Stop worrying about us donating money to political people. Worry about funding these kids to come to university. Let's make sure that they are safe. Let's make sure that they eat. I cannot believe that we still have our kids queuing for food. I always ask myself, what does it do to your self-esteem? As a young kid who comes from an impoverished background and you're queuing for a sandwich. Good people, this country must change. And that's my report for this year. That's my dream for this university. And I'm going to continue relentlessly driving these things with this team, the MEC, the ELG, the Senate. And if one of you still sits there and say, hey, but this guy likes to interfere, I'm sorry. Welcome to the party. I am going to continue interfering. If I see simple things, which Professor Swart may say are small things, and I'll close with this. When I walk the stairs of a place, when I visit your house, and I walk into your yard, the first thing I see grass growing on your paving and things, I start to think of you and say, I wonder where he or she sleeps. So when I walk into this university, I said to Professor Swart, the first thing we must clean this university. It's dirty. And it's going to be a great university. It will be clean. It will be safe. Professor Marwala will drive his fourth industrial revolution and watch the space. We will be better than some of these universities that are around. I don't watch these rankings. They teach me about the rankings. But watch this university. We're going to be the best. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Sanibonani. Dumelang. Ndimadekwana. By the way, Ndimadekwana simply means it is the evening. Why do you have to remind people that it is the evening? They already know, But of course, it is our way of greeting. The Chair of Council, Mr. Mike Teke, members of Council, and previous members of Council. I saw somebody who looked like Dennis entering the venue. The leadership of the university, the executive leadership group, friends and colleagues, both from inside and outside, ladies and gentlemen. This morning, I attended a funeral of one of our professors. And the Chair of Council was talking about the already 13 fatalities. And many of them are natural. And I think this is something that we battle with. I mean, just to give you a little bit of more information about the academic that we lost, Professor Tessa Hochfeld. She was knocked in a bicycle. She was riding a bicycle with her family. And then she was knocked. Very, very sad. Luckily, her son and her husband did not face the same fate. It's something that we need to do something about in our society. That we lose young people who could still contribute to the fortunes of this country for the next 40 years is something that we have to be worried about. But thank you very much for making time to attend this important occasion for us, and also to listen to my reflections on the year that has passed. It has been a year of many highs and obviously many lows. But I think despite the setbacks that we have faced in 2018, I think overall there are many things that we can be proud of. I think you can give the staff and students of the University of Johannesburg a round of applause. Some of the highs include the fact that in terms of research output, accredited research output, we have overtaken the University of Cape Town. Another round of applause. And in the year that is in question, I don't want to pretend to be a Sangoma and start making speculations. So it is not me who is saying this, is Professor Sina. He is the one who is speculating and who is being a Sangoma. And he thinks we have overtaken the university in Bramfontein. I'm not going to name any names. No. But I think competition is actually good. Competition is what permit us to set goals, to outperform ourselves, to outperform our peers. And if it is healthy competition, it is definitely good for the education system as a whole. Of course, I'm aware that some among us might actually be colleagues in some of these universities that we have overtaken. I welcome you. I used to be a professor at another university in Bramfontein. The achievements of the last year are really too many to list, and I'm going to talk more about this in my presentation. But what we have been doing, and we have done this because we realize that the world is moving very, very fast. So the issue of the fourth industrial revolution, the issue of technology changing society in a much more dramatic way than we have ever witnessed before, is actually a reality. The issue that Asia is rising economically, the center of mass of economic activities is naturally moving to Asia, which, given the population distributions of the world, is actually the right thing. Because just India and China alone, we are talking about close to 2.5 billion people. That is more people than North America and Europe combined together. So it is actually the right thing. And I was watching on CNN, and he characterizes this, one of the CNN presenter, and I can't remember the name. He says it is the rise of the rest. It's not just the rise of Asia, but it's the rise of the rest. And I believe that if we as a society do not adopt a new culture towards education, we are actually going to be left behind. Those who prosper, and this is not even rocket science, you don't even need to go to Sangoma, Professor Sina. that those countries that succeed actually are countries that value education. They're countries where education is actually the real goal. I know our chairman of council is in the mining industry. So, but certainly the real gold is actually education. The real value, the real valuable commodity that any nation can be able to bestow upon its citizens is really education in its totality, in all the areas. There should not be any knowledge domain where our society must be in the dark. If there is any knowledge domain where we are in the dark, then there is something wrong with our society, and we are not going to realize the economic potential that we deserve. So this stakeholder report, we used to have A4 huge report. In fact, it was not one report, it was 3 reports. And I remember the chair of council saying that, hey, this is too heavy, I will have to leave it in your office. So we wanted to summarize it so that at least, you can be able to get a snapshot on what is happening. The University of Johannesburg is actually doing very, very well. Our research output is actually quite high. Our NRF rated researchers, 195. I think you can give us a round of applause. Our accredited research output, 1,700. And each unit is more than 100,000 rands. And we were just half of that just 5 years ago. And we have submitted more than 2,000 research units. Of course, knowledge not used is no knowledge at all. So we are also worried about how is our research outputs being used. And one of the things that we measure is citations. We understand the limitations of citations. That there might be somebody there, some businessman who read our papers and go and implement it and create economic value out of it. And it is not reflected in Scopus citations. So this is just a marker. 12,000 citations. The number of postdoctoral fellows, 275. So we are actually in good stead. The other number is international students, because what we have also realized is that South Africa must open up to the rest of the African continent and to the rest of the world. The Africa by bus does not really come in the international students, but is inbound and outbound. So that our students can be able to go out there and learn about what is happening in the African continent. Every time I used to go to China, I was very impressed by the Chinese students. And Andre, you can testify. And we are going to China at the end of the month. The students seem to be very, very busy, and they seem to be very interested in what you are saying. I remember going to China, and I went to this Eastern University, and I was speaking, and these people were very, very, very attentive. The students were very, very attentive. I was very impressed. Until I asked a question and I realized that none of them could hear what I was talking about. But most recently, I went to University of Rwanda. And, I used to tell Godfrey that, I wish our students, we should send our students to China so that they can learn how students are supposed to interact with their professors and so on. The respect, the dedication. When I went to University of Rwanda, I was very impressed. People, you can see, is a society that has plans to improve themselves. So one of the measures that we have is international students, and we are going to have Africa by bus to Nairobi by bus. We have been to, last year we went to Lusaka, and I think we should pass by Kigali so that people can see how the other countries are making progress. I think the chair has already talked about permanent and fixed term staff with PhDs, very, very important. We have to exceed 50%. I'm tired of being under 50%. Very, very important measure because it measures the kind of capability that we have. Third stream income and unencumbered, which basically means it's money that is not specified on how we're going to use it, 197. And then obviously externally generated for research, in addition to 197 million, 209 million. And collectively, it's not quite $500 million, but we're getting there. I hope 2019 we will pass that mark, Nolwazi. So now, the global rankings, I'm not going to go into this. We are doing well, but we, as a university, we pride ourselves as a university that is serious about research and innovation. It's not just about research that we produce. I saw Mr. Potgieter, where are you? The CEO of Resolution Circle. And one of his primary tasks is obviously to take ideas from our research enterprise and take it to society, to industry, to government, and so on and so forth. I've already talked about stuff with PhD and the international stuff. We had a target of 16%, and we achieved 17%. On the whole, on that slide, you can see that the only measure that we have not achieved, we have achieved everything there except female associate professors and professors. We wanted to be at 39.7%. We are at 37.25%. And I'm going to, to certainly be discussing, especially with female members of our MEC, that you can assist us on crafting what are we missing here. Also male members, but we also male members. But I think Nolwazi, Nolita, and Engineer and Kinta, I think we are at loss. We have not achieved what we wanted to achieve. I think you will have to assist us. What are we missing? And obviously, one of the things that is very in line with the fourth industrial revolution is the issue of online programs. And there are quite a number of them. Masters of Public Management and Governance, Masters of Education Management, Bachelors of Commerce. It used to be called International Accounting. It's no longer International Accounting. We have dropped the international part for this course. It was at Senex the last time. So we are doing quite well here. Maybe just when I'm on these programs, just to say, Chair, that we are very serious about the medical school. We really are very serious. Last week, we met the MEC of Health in Gauteng regarding the finalization of this matter. And the meeting went very well. And one of the issues that is under consideration is that people are saying that the University of Gauteng already has 3 medical schools. You have VETS, you have UP, you have Isfako Mahatu. And why should it have a 4th medical school? Northwest does not have a medical school, and Mpumalanga does not have a medical school. So our medical school is actually going to work very, very closely, certainly with Mpumalanga. Me and the dean, last night we actually had a dinner with the MEC of Health of Mpumalanga because we really want to get this thing off the ground. And we are going to be meeting the Minister of Health very, very soon. So the medical school shall happen, Chair, during my tenure as a Vice Chancellor. Now, of course, our strategy is GES 4.0. This concept of GES 4.0 has really gotten us into trouble. We had a dean of another university, and he was telling us, Sorab, you were there, that you guys are giving us a grief because the Vice Chancellor, every time he hears about us doing something around the 4th Industrial Revolution, he sends a memo and says, guys, you are sleeping. So it's something that our classrooms are changing. Our degrees are changing. I mean, for the first time, we have a BA in politics, economics, and technology. You know this thing called PEE. What is it? PPE. And by the way, people think PPE is responsible for Brexit. Because all the prime ministers who were involved in Brexit, they all went to Oxford and studied PPE. So he said, maybe there's something wrong with PPE, let's have a PET. So very, very important. So basically what we are trying to do here is to modernize our curricula so that it is able to address the issue of convergence of human beings with machines, which is becoming part of our workplaces, is becoming part of our societies. I mean, if you take away a phone from an individual for a week and tell them that they cannot be able to interact with their phone for a week, many of them go they go mad. Because a human being and a machine are converging to become a system. So our education must actually reflect that. So very, very important. Of course, while we do all these things, there are some risks that we encounter. I'm not going to go through all the risks, but I think the big risk is our macroeconomic risk as a country. Our society, our economy is not growing nearly fast enough. I mean, this year, if we grow more than 1%, we will actually be lucky. I mean, just think about it. The United States, which is a $21 trillion economy, is going to grow at 3%. I don't know whether you understand what 3% of $21 billion is. What is it, Andre? Okay, so if it was 10 billion, 3% will be $300 billion. So if you double that, it's $600 billion. It basically means that the United States is adding South Africa and a half every year. It's a big, because when the economy is big, you expect it to grow slow, isn't it? Why are we growing at 1%? And those are the engagements that the University of Johannesburg must be involved in. And these are risks for us because it poses a risk for funding and so on and so forth. I think the issue of, and I don't see it here, safety in and out of our campuses is very, very key. I must confess, much of the death that happened on campus, in fact, almost all of them, is either self-inflicted or disease-related. I mean, like, for example, just 2 weeks ago, we lost somebody, and we don't really know who this person is on our campus. And we know that he came holding the stomach, saying that he was in pain. And he went to the bathroom and never came out. So it's probably heart attack or something like that. So much of almost all the death on our campus are either self-inflicted suicides, which is a big issue that we need to deal with as MEC, or they're disease-related. But whatever the reason is it is important enough for us to be concerned. So these are some of the risks. I'm not going to go through chapter and verse. Now, if we go on the measures, excellence in research and innovation, total postgraduate output, very good. Percentage of permanent and fixed academic staff with doctorates, excellent. Accredited research output, very good. Annual citation, excellent. Please give us a round of applause. And teaching and learning. We really have to, studying in South Africa must be really, really hard because our classrooms are bigger. I remember when I was an undergraduate student in North America, my grandmother died. And we all used to have somebody called your advisor. This is the person who signs all your courses that you're going to register. If he does not think you can handle the course material, he would not allow you to take that load. And when she died, I told my advisor, and all my professors called me to send condolences. Of course, we won't be able to do it here because of staff and student ratios. But with technology, surely we can be able to reach our students. Because many of our students are lost. Many of them have never even, they don't even have a one-on-one with their professors of many of their classes. So teaching and learning is very, very important. And of course, the ideal is not reachable. We cannot have 100% pass rate. It's not possible, isn't it? But the indications are obviously showing that we are making big progress. If you look at our enrollment profile in the science, engineering, and technology, we did not meet our requirement. Professor Parek. Undergraduate output, we did very well. We can give Professor Parek a round of applause. Program submitted for accreditation for online learning, very well. Percentage of undergraduate program changes to address decolonization, very, very well. So, now if we move to internationalization, number of international students, we exceeded our requirements. I will have to tell you, we were sitting, I think it was in 2017. It might even have been 2017. And we were not reaching the number of, we call them inbound and outbound students. These are students who come and study on our campus, and our students who go and visit on a short term outside. And we were not missing this thing. And we were at loss. And then I remember Professor Sina, who is a very inventive individual, said maybe we should just hire buses and send our students to Mozambique and Zimbabwe and Botswana and Namibia. And we did hire 17 buses. But of course, it might have looked like we were chasing targets. When we did that, we realized that no, over 95% of the students that we took to those countries had never applied for a passport before. They had never been out of the country. They had never even, some of them had never even heard of the word passport. So can you see how transformative this is? Let alone what they learn on the roads. We are introducing another program called Africa by Bus. We want to introduce a program called Innovation by Bus. So you will move from here to Harare. We take maybe some of our best performing students, and we say when you arrive in Harare, you should have an innovative idea that ideally we can go and patent. Very, very important. So going back to the slide, you can see we did very well. We exceeded all our targets there. In terms of enriching environment, enriching student-friendly, it's not student-friendly, it's student and staff-friendly learning and living experience. And of course, I've already talked about the issues that we have. One of the things that I was really worried about was the backlog maintenance bill that we have. Very, very important issue for us to tackle. The cleanliness of our campuses, still a big struggle. But I think our campus, we have not done any survey. I think our campus is slightly cleaner. It's becoming slightly cleaner, but we are not where we are supposed to be. Those might not look like important issues, but they are very important. So if you look at undergraduate satisfaction, this is now from a survey, you can see where our target was and where we ended up. The ceiling was 82%, we ended up at 87%. Of course, 13% dissatisfied people is a big deal, isn't it? If you look at the postgraduate, we exceeded the ceiling by the skin of our teeth. You can see the gap, Looks like our postgraduate students are less satisfied than our undergraduate students. We are working on this. Then national and global reputation management, number of awards and prestigious recognition. We have done very well, 40. But I keep on telling the MEC that I'm not going to be satisfied until one of our academic staff actually win a Nobel Prize. Even though we have a 40, none of that 40 includes a Nobel Prize. I'm looking at Professor Parek and Professor Sina. And maybe, Chair, in the future we should put number of academic staff who win a Nobel Prize as part of our... we should aim high, we should fail while trying. Very important. And then obviously fitness for global excellence and stature. I think one of the things that that I always have to explain this, the 391 million surplus. For those of you who do not understand what surplus means, if it was a listed company, we will call it profit. So we made 391 million. We actually reinvest this into our key infrastructure. We have just built quite an impressive residence in Soweto, and we are starting another residence in Soweto. And we use it for backlog maintenance and many other things. Externally generated funding, we have talked about this. Percentage of black academic staff, permanent and fixed academic staff at prof and associate prof level. And of course, you can see that overall we have done well. And we have already indicated that if you dig deep, you will realize that we have not done as well when it comes to women associate professors and professors. And then the governance. We had serious, me and the chair, when we assume our new positions, we inherited quite a difficult governance riddled university. We had governance issues. We all know about it. But I think we have made huge progress, much more than I had even expected. So we have excellent governance system that is in place. So now, I've already talked about. Now looking ahead, we obviously we have infused into our strategy the issues of the fourth industrial revolution. We continue to also focus on the infrastructure, the existing infrastructure, and also the infrastructure that is going to position us in the fourth industrial revolution. And our GES 4.0 strategy includes investment into that. The issue of student accommodation. If there is one thing that I almost always get a business proposal almost every week, is people who want to build student accommodation for us outside. I no longer even talk to them. I refer them to Nolwazi to handle them, because if I were just to operate from the people who approach us, I think it is a saturated market. If I just use that, obviously you have to go and count the beds. And obviously we are also looking into re-looking at our curricula so that it can be in line with the fourth industrial revolution and so on and so forth. So we have inserted into our performance score now in 2019 issues around the fourth industrial revolution. One of the issues that is very important is that we should be leading the conversation in the country around the fourth industrial revolution. And me and Nolita, in our performance agreement, we agreed that this year we are going to see 50 op-eds in major newspapers around the fourth industrial revolution. Where are we now? We're at 50. I think you can give us a round of applause. Of course, we have weaknesses. But when we introduced the issue of the fourth industrial revolution, many people said, no, this man is introducing this because he used to be a dean of engineering. It's an engineering project. But the faculty that has been lagging as far as leading conversations around the fourth industrial revolution has been the faculty of engineering and the built environment. I have been reading exciting op-eds from the Faculty of Education, SAVKI, and some of it from you as a dean, leading by example. I think you can give her a round of applause. I have seen op-eds from the Faculty of Humanity. One of the most exciting one was the one that was written by the Dean of the Faculty of Humanity, Professor Alex Broadbent. And the title of that article, I think it was on Mail and Guardian. Oh, no, it was on the Daily Maverick, one of the two. It was why the fourth industrial revolution might not happen. Of course, you know, the title sounds pessimistic, but the way I read it was to say, these are important issues that you need to pay attention to. If you don't pay attention to them, then it is not going to happen. In the Faculty of Law, Professor Mpedi, he is obviously going to be publishing, the faculty is going to be publishing a book on the fourth industrial revolution and the law. I think he can be given a round of applause. So it has been happening across the board. It has been happening across the board. Daniel, you have a load of 40% of our student population in the faculty. And one of the things that our business school is going to differentiate itself is that it is going to be a business school that is actually positioned to make the graduates succeed in the fourth industrial revolution. And Professor Khan, of course, you do exciting stuff there on lasers and so on and so forth. We are looking forward to also seeing people from the Faculty of Health Sciences actually taking what they are doing to the public domain. So thank you very much with those few words. Ngiyabonga, bayadanki, kiyalibuwa. Thank you.
Another big round of applause for... I had not finished. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Another big round of applause for our Nobel Prize winner, Professor Marwala. Thank you very much, Prof. I think according to the program, we're supposed to be taking some questions, but I'm also a little worried about Professor Kinta's program that is going to follow. Before I give over to the questioning time, may I just thank the Chair of Council for his input, laced with many targets for us, of course. What I like about what the sister said about being a chair of everything is that, yes, the chair is a chair of everything. You can tell because he has got an eye for detail. And also he really, really demands accountability. So it's very difficult to pull a wool over his eyes. Yesterday, in trying to be preemptive and smart, I sent him a little something to say, Chair, if you wish to use this tomorrow as your introduction, please feel free. Of course, in that, I was saying, congratulations to the University of Johannesburg for a sterling job. And he said nothing about it. Instead, he just told us what to do. So it's not from lack of trying, Chair. I did try. But we take serious, we are seriously concerned about the safety of students, as you pointed out. And of course, the rest is for Nolwazi and the rest of the leadership in terms of financial sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anybody who's itching to ask for a question? I think that the soldier was very clear. You might want to ask what a soldier is. Like SONA, it is a State of University of Johannesburg address. But is there any question? If there isn't, while you reflect, may I call upon Professor Kinta Bega to come and take the program forward. Professor Becker, can I just, before you say that, just say thank you very much to my team for putting this together, because without them, this would not have happened. So thank you very much to communications, thank you. And thank you to Mr. Priyal Pillay for putting this together under the stewardship of Mr. Siale and the rest of the colleagues. And also thank you to Nelda and everybody else who was involved in making this the sterling job it was. So thank you for me, and over to you, Professor Becker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Vukuza and Sanibunani. Dumelang. Good evening and goeienaand. This is a stakeholder event, and one of the important stakeholders, of course, is our convocation and alumni. So we thought that we will make use of this opportunity to just also show our new platform, our digital platform, online platform that we've created to enable, to facilitate engagement with alumni, between alumni. And going forward, I think we will be using this to see where are our alumni, and they are across the world, and also to stay in touch with them, to create affinity groups so that you can actually, from the faculty side, from sport, from choir, you can actually engage with your alumni directly. And as you will see from this very short video clip that we will show, you can create events, you can offer your mentoring, and I will come back to that, and that you can also see what job opportunities, internships there are. So we are very excited about this. So I'm going to show you a short video clip, 2.5 minutes more or less, and it's just an extraction actually from a video clip. So it will start sort of in the middle, but it will give you an idea. Thank you, Nelda.
Profile. Through Alumni Connect, you have access to various network and engagement opportunities. The platform allows you to share information about yourself with your network, and you can update your profile to reflect any changes that come up in your life. You always have full control of the information shared, and you can update it at any time. To view your profile, click on the small photograph on the top right-hand side of the feed, then click on Edit Your Profile to change or add information as you wish. Post on feed. This platform is a destination to connect with your alma mater, meet old friends, offer and receive help, find out about events, and join relevant groups. On the left-hand side, you will find a menu panel listing available platform features and selections. At the heart of your platform is your own personalized feed, where you can view fellow members' posts and content. On the right, you will find different widgets. Maybe you're looking for a new job. Perhaps you would like to see who has recently joined the platform. Or maybe you would like to catch up with the university's social media. To interact with your network, you can write a post, upload a photo, attach a file, and tag others in your network. Directory. The directory allows you to look for a job within the industry of your own interest, search for people, companies, positions by location, and find old friends. Search for a mentor from an expert base of those who are willing to help, or offer your expertise to those looking for help in specific areas through mentoring. Search the directory by filtering name, location, company, industry, position, field of study, and more. Events. This platform can be used to find events that you are interested in attending. You can search by date or location. When you find what you're looking for, you can easily register and then follow the prompts, and you can also see others who have registered. Creating an event is a simple step-by-step process using the platform. You can advertise and publicize it by filling out the relevant information on the form. You can target exactly who you want to invite by using the advanced filters. Your event will also be searchable on the calendar feature, so users can search for it by date. Join the UJ alumni community now to start networking and engaging with your alma mater.
Thank you, Nelda. So we're going to have a campaign announcing this starting next week. And then we will also have a sort of a competition or a prize. For those that are joining in the next 3 months, there will be a big prize sponsored by the Johannesburg Business School. Daniel, I hope you know about this. For a waiving of tuition fees for someone that has joined this, and that, of course, we will qualify. But it's a big prize. It's worth about 260,000. So for alumnus that is using it in the next 3 months. So we are very excited, and what we also foresee is that once we have this network going, that if a VC or a Mike Teki, Chair of Council, or any one of the deans or academics go overseas, that they will be able to see how many alumni there are, maybe in a, a city like London and so on, and that then we can also bring those alumni closer. So it is to spread our alumni network beyond just South Africa as well. And what is important to note is this mentoring function that's up there. And Chair of Council, you must listen now, because you have put up your hand as one that's going to be the example to lead this mentoring, and you have actually challenged other alumni to also join in this reaching out to mentor our new young alumni. So thank you very much for that, and you're going to be our champion. So just also maybe on alumni, while I have this opportunity, to remind the colleagues that there's currently election going on for our convocation, and so those that have not voted yet, please make sure that you cast your vote. It's open until the end of August. So that is then our program on the alumni, and I just want to now also say thank you. I want to say thank you to you, Dr. Vukuza, because you have been the champion of this event and of this wonderful, beautiful publication, which I think is something that we can use as an absolutely marketing promotion document for the university. So thank you to you, and you've already thanked your team, but also from my side, thank you to your colleagues that have worked so hard on this beautiful publication. Then also I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Teki. I mean, you put it straightforward to us, why we are here at UJ, what we should do, and what we can do. And also to just emphasize again your leadership role that you will play in leading us in the way forward. So thank you very much for that. And then VC, as always, you told the story very well, the very good story about UJ. And while doing it, you inspired us to reach even higher. As you put it, at UJ, we aim high. So thank you again for your leadership. And then also to colleagues from the alumni office who has been involved also in this event, and also for this magazine that you will share. You can just take one outside. And then Nelda, where are you? Thank you very much, as always. Perfect. And then to all our stakeholders here, to everyone who made time to to honor us with your presence here tonight. We say thank you, and we're looking forward to strengthen this partnership with you as important stakeholders. So thank you very much, and you now are invited to join us next door. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much.